Today we're gonna go over my 45X. This is my creation that I made to make the flush fit comp. So we're gonna show clear. It's all good. We got the Hollow Sun 507 comp as the optic. I use the red dot because the green, I don't know, I prefer the red in my opinion. I got the CNH, I guess it's aluminum optic plate instead of the one that comes with the Glock. We got suppressor height sights. We got a 45 slide. We got the Radian ramjet and afterburner on a 17 frame. This is all Gen 5. TLR1 HL Streamlight. We got double undercuts. We got the sprinkle pattern. I did all the undercuts and stippling myself and the modifications as well. We got a gas pedal, and in my opinion, it points and shoots like, I don't know, it's the best Glock I've ever created, to be honest with you. And I'm gonna take it apart and show you some of the internals, and we'll see how it works. So all this is pretty much just, you can put this right on your 45 frame or 19 frame. It's basically the same thing, just polished safety and striker. That's pretty much all. There's no modifications needed to this. I do put quite a bit of oil in here for my guide rail. So the majority of the modifications come in here. And forgive me, I put a ton of grease on the parts that need it. So the first thing you gotta do is you gotta cut the existing rails in half. Let's see if you can see that good. So you just take some oil off of that. You got to cut them in half, and then this right here has to be flush pretty much all the way to those rails. So the actual guide rod and recoil spring and all that will go inside just like a G45. If you can, excuse me, line it up with your G45, you pretty much have the same length. Some people say you can cut these all the way off. I'm not certain. I didn't want to do that. And plus, if you cut them all the way off, you won't have the reference point like you do here. And then you got to cut just a bit off the front. So what I did is I put the system on there, and then I put a pencil line, and I cut it at the same angle as the Radian. In my opinion, it made it look better. The inside here, it ain't got to be pretty, but you just got to try to get it as smooth as possible. So these rails are really hard. I use like a cutting disc on a Dremel to cut this way and then cut down and then kind of fold it back and forth and then try to get in there and sand it. When you're smoothing this out, you can't just use like one of those paper with the sandpaper on it on the Dremel. You got to use like one of those real hard, it's like an orangish color. Or you can use the green ones because this metal is extremely hard. I don't know what they make it out of, but it's extremely hard. And then you got to get that in there and get it as smooth as possible. It ain't got to be perfect. Like you can see mine, it ain't perfect. And then another thing is, let me take this out. This is a pain. Instead of the normal Glock locking block, you got to buy one of these. It's a DST9 P80 rail system. And it'll come with the front ones and the back ones, and it's pretty much a little kit. I think it was like 45 bucks. So, but on the front, this one, it has 2 pins. So you got to cut the front of it off, and then you're gonna have to go underneath, and you're gonna have to sand this, and you're gonna have to sand the bottom to where it sits low enough in the system that the bottom pretty much matches what you got here. And then the top, you're gonna have to come and take some off the top. You don't have to take a whole lot off the top, but you got to take just enough to where you can actually line it up with the, and it ain't perfect, trust me. I could probably do a little bit more to mine, but since it's been working, I said I ain't gonna mess with it that much. So this is another reason, like I was saying, I don't cut these off. That way you'll have a good eye reference so you can make sure that they're lined up like they need to be. And then, so I got the Glock Performance trigger in here. And then what I did to modify it was, let me do this. Alrighty. So the Glock Performance trigger, it comes as a full kit. So you'll get the housing, you'll get the connector, and it comes with a different trigger shoe. I always put the Timney on one of them, and then I put this is the Johnny Vex for the Timney trigger. So it's got this little reset spring in it. The only downside about this locking block, I probably should have went up in here and grinded more because it's actually bending the reset spring. But the Glock Performance trigger has a better reset than the Timney anyway, so it's necessarily not needed. But the only reason I kept it that way is because I actually changed the spring inside the housing here. If I was at my house with all my tools, I'd take it apart and show you. But pretty much, I'm gonna be real with you. I used the ink pen spring in here. So I found the ink pen spring, I cut it to the same length, and I took it off. If you wanna see how to take the Glock Performance trigger shoe apart, Johnny Glock's got a good video on taking the shoe off and taking the housing apart and showing you. The way he does it is you remove the this right here, and then you got to pull the extractor out, and then you can push the pin all the way through. But what I did is I just take the trigger bar and shoe off, and then I'll pull it up, and then I use a needle nose pliers, and I'll just pull down on the spring, twist it, and you can pull it out that way. His way is probably easier, but I don't know. I just didn't feel like going through all that mess. So, and it does have a minus connector in this one. No, actually it's the dot connector. My 19X has a minus connector. So, the trigger has pretty much, I don't know, at most a 2-pound pull. Sometimes it's 3, it just depends on where you pull the trigger at. So when I got it gauged, they were kind of pulling it at the middle because I don't have my own gauge yet. I ordered one, but they sent it to the wrong house because UPS is stupid. So I got it coming. Let me put this back together and I'll show you. A little pain in the butt with my spring being bent. And you've seen the videos of me shooting this thing, and it's super flat. Even with the HSTs plus Ps, 124 grains, it's super flat. 124s is what I normally shoot through it. It'll shoot 115s. The only issues I had at the very beginning was the 30 round mags and the base plates, but I've since put enough rounds through it that no longer is a problem either. In the last video that I shot with me shooting it, I used the extensions and the 30 round mags. Make sure this is off camera. And so what I do with a Dremel, the one with the paper sand blade, is I'll just come in here. Like some people mark it out, but I'm not a perfectionist, you know, so it don't really matter to me because you can see that it ain't perfect, but I don't really give a shit. It's my gun. I'm gonna do what I want to it. And instead of trying to make it perfect for everybody, I actually try to make it perfect for me. So I'll go in here and I'll sand some, and then I'll hold it and see how if I like it fit, how it feels, and see if my knuckle will fit in there like I want it to. Because I got pretty fat knuckles. I don't know if it's from breaking my fingers playing football or what. But and then so what I did for the outline is I got it's like a ball. Like they got cutting ones that have a ball on the end of it, or they got ones that's kind of looks like it's pretty straight, but the edges are rounded. Those are the best. If you get the one with the flat edge that cuts like that, it'll jump all over the place. So either get the ball or the one with the rounded edge. On the Dremel, I think it's 9901 or something, 9904 for the Dremel tool. And what I did is I got a pencil mark, and none of this is perfect. And I just went around, and then I pretty much drew the pattern I wanted to do on the outside, came in and cut it. And then I got I actually made the sprinkle tip because I wasn't gonna order one. I ordered the basket weave tip, but a sprinkle tip was pretty much just a rectangle. So I had a tip close enough that I made one. And I went in a little aggressive on this side right here. This side, not so much, but I like that because it gives you that extra grip. Because when I did my 19X backstrap reduction, I ended up sanding a lot of it, and it's not as grippy as I want it to be. So I might end up going back and putting more. I like it because this extra little bit, I mean, it's super firm in your hand. And then with the Radian and on the 17 frame, in my opinion, it does shoot slightly different than just a G45 frame. I don't know. I mean, it's the same grip. The only difference is this little piece right here. So I don't know if that little bit of weight or what it is makes it better. And I also think the guide rails from the DST9 actually help the frame move back and forth because the tolerance they're still kind of loose, but it's not as loose as a normal Glock. So you get some wiggle, but you don't get as much wiggle as you do with like a normal Glock pistol. Cause let me show you here. Take this one out. You see, you got quite a bit of play in that. And this one, you got a little play, but it's not as much. So I'm thinking the extra guide rails help it, and it shoots super accurate, and that could be the Radian, because I've seen people do reviews on the Radian barrel, and they said it's super accurate as well. It's a match grade barrel. And then, like I was saying, in the front, I just cut this flush to the Radian pretty much. So I don't know how well you can see this. My camera works pretty shoddy, I'm sure of it. I'm not a camera expert. I'm not a technology guy. I'm a mechanical guy. I'm a plumber by trade. And I just love guns, so I like to modify them. You can see, like normally, the barrel might tilt a little more, but it's not actually hitting the frame, so I don't think it has any disadvantages, and I haven't seen any. Most of the marks on the inside are from me cutting and dremeling. So like the only issues I had at first were feeding issues, and I don't know if it took a little bit to get it, but the last video I went out and shot, I didn't have any feeding issues at all. The only issues I may have every once in a while is a light primer strike, and that comes with a super, super soft trigger. But yeah, I've never shot a Glock that shoots as flat as this one, and I don't know, it's on point every time. And I'm sure that the Streamlight, the weight helps of it. So at first I wasn't gonna carry it, and I still don't carry it for my day-to-day because I carry my 19 or the G47 I made at home. And then, but at night, this is my home defense pistol that I keep on me because it's got the light on it and stuff like that. And then I keep my 300 Blackout by the bedside, but that's a different story. And this is what I was saying about the backstrap reduction. So I took it looks like the dagger frame. But when I did it, I kind of wanted to make everything match up, and I hit this with the basket weave, but I didn't go back over none of this right here, and it's a lot smoother. And in the earlier videos, even you can see up here, look, the rougher it looks is actually like it gives you a lot better grip. And this one right here has got the Glock performance trigger in it with the Timney shoe, but I think this one's a minus connector. This is the one that's got this super sweet trigger. And that's probably 2 pounds at most. I mean, it's super light. And yes, I carry a Glock with a 2-pound trigger, but I'm not some idiot. Like, I don't even keep my finger on the trigger until I need to. And if I pull my gun out, I'm gonna shoot you. I'm not waiting around. I'm not doing none of that. I ain't pulling it out until it needs to be done. I'm not one of these people that's gonna sit out here and flash a gun just to try to scare somebody. That's not who I am. And that's not who you should be either. Guns are not toys. They're tools. And even though my name is HK Gunplay and I do play with my guns, not when it comes to serious matters like that. But yeah, in my opinion, it's the best looking Glock I've ever seen. You know, you can get the ones like my Safari with the slide cuts and all that, but this is pretty much a stock all around Glock with a few modifications, you know, with the stippling and stuff and the base plate and the add-ons. But it looks so good. And I like the 507 comp. At first, I didn't like it because I had the EPS on here, and the EPS actually looks good on there too. And I was thinking this is too tall, but after going out and shooting it and seeing that the dot never leaves the screen, man, it is insane. It's hard for me to watch the camera at the same time. But I hope y'all enjoyed this breakdown. I'm not good with these videos, so hopefully you'll like and subscribe. And maybe in the future, I'll get some better camera work going on. And then if you need any more tips and tricks, you know, you can ask me questions if you want to try to make one yourself. Like, if you got any mechanical skill, I don't think it's hard. I mean, it's just tedious because you don't want to do too much and you have to check it a lot. Because when you first get it, like you can rack it a 45 slide on a 17 frame, it just won't hit lock back like that. It won't lock back. It'll probably go to like right here and it won't lock back. That's because the front rails and the recoil spring and all that is hitting. So you need to do the modifications on the inside that I was telling you about. Other than that, just make sure this is pretty much level as can be, because if not, it'll create. You could probably actually make it frame tighter, but in my opinion, Glock's loose tolerances are like that for a reason, so they are more reliable. And this right here, like I said, it don't have to be pretty. You can see where I kind of butchered it on the inside a little bit, but like I was saying earlier, I'm not a perfectionist. As long as this thing works, it works. And you can see where the frame slides on this right here. That's why I put extra grease on there and in there, so it slides a whole lot smoother, because it is a little bit tighter tolerances than that. But like I said, I ain't had any issues after, like the first time I shot it, it worked out with a Glock factory mag, but the base plate extensions and stuff like that were giving me issues. But ever since then, that second time when I put about 200 rounds through it, it was pretty much flawless. I did have a couple either light primer strikes, or it could be that the primers were dead, because I've also shot those that ammo in my normal Glocks with like the Gen 5 with the modifications, but they should be lighting those primers off, and it wasn't. So if you have any questions, like I said, hit me up in the comments, and then have a blessed day. Stay 2A.